I'm here with Jerszy Seymour, who is a designer, Berlin-based. And my first question would be, Jerszy, why did you come back to Berlin?
So I was born here. I grew up in London. I went around the cities. I lived in Italy, in Milan for a bit, in New York and in Paris. I think every place is giving something to your head. Berlin was kind of offering itself, and I came for a week visit, walked into this courtyard, saw this windows of this studio here, and said, oh, that looks like a nice place. And somebody on the floor below said, oh, would you like to see it? And the next day I met the landlord and got the keys. And
so it was a quick decision.
It actually took me a year after that
to
move. I actually have a diagram which I presented last year in my river workshop, which actually explains all of my work from a process of a volcano, of understanding people as volcanoes, as these complex beings of emotions and desires. And that was, by the way, the volcano was my project for Milan this year.
Okay.
I will be Marcel Duchamp and take that as a found project. I think it was quite great. After the volcano, there's the scum projects, and the scum projects I call as being in itself. It's designed with no connection to anything, no moralism. It doesn't care whether you like it, it doesn't care how it's made. It's like this very fast reaction between being able to control something and not. Let's say that I also, at that time, also did some proper industrial design projects, and I was really realizing quite quickly that within the reality of these, that we've surpassed a possibility of modernism in the way that it was thought. Like, the product is too cheap, they're functioning perfectly fine. I mean, these hair dryers or this chair, these hair dryers, it's Moulin. I mean, they're costing €6 to €15 to the public.
Okay.
It's too cheap.
I think Milan is a very big hotspot when it comes to design, and London is also like a point where a melting pot of design.
Yeah.
But do you think that Berlin is also one, or is like going to be, or?
It has been the most interesting place for design, but not the design that people think about. Yeah. And so Berlin becomes becomes very interesting, first of all, of a place that doesn't have design in the post-war situation. People came here to escape the normal stuff. I mean, if you didn't want to do military service, the Germans would come here, then Iggy Pop would come here, and people that wanted to do something else. I mean, it was the lost place. It was the no place, in a sense. It offers a complex question, which can give the possibility for very good answers. You know, that's what Berlin will be very interesting for, I think, in the years to come up. I did this project, find now, which was called New Order, which in fact is the same as the bicycle elastic. Yeah. And then I want to say, okay, but the next step is actually to make something which works between the simple plastic chair and an office chair. Jasper's chair is great. You just have to cut a little bit here to allow the flexibility. And then you cut the arms and drill a couple of holes and get a bicycle elastic, and you have
What did Jasper say?
I think he sat in it and thought, oh, that's quite comfortable.
Very good.
I haven't done it yet, but we'll make a drawing for the website and just say to people, this is how you do it. Yeah. You get the chair from Magis, you get the bicycle elastic from there, and you can make your own one. That was part of an installation. I did 2 times. One time at Mudan as part of the coalition of amateurs, but I also did in Holland, and it was a part of a bedroom, so there was a bed made in the same technique called erotic production. And what the amateur is about, our libido is used right now in consuming, and in a way capitalism is killing the libido of people. And this is just about producing, just about doing. So you get, and then you just go. So it's really like an orgasmic production. Yeah. Like, you don't need a technical drawing. There's not a right way to do it. So yeah, this was the bench from the first supper. I mean, the wax was poured in multicolours because
I've seen pictures. It was a really, really long one, wasn't
it? There was. I mean, it was seating and tables for 100 people.
Yeah,
which was in a big esque. I poured all of the tabletops and the benches from this, and then the food that people ate was root soups, which were all different mixture colours of roots. So you had exactly the same texture of what you were eating as the tabletops, which was meant to make the direct connection between the kitchen as a production place and eating, making food as actually quite a great amateur, the great amateur pastime. So that was just presented in Milan. They wanted to do a chair in wire, and actually it took a while to work out what to do, and then it was to look for another language after the wire chairs that are really well known, the Eames and the Botoya, which do this grid. Yeah. So I looked at that and I said, wow, this grid is 80 pieces and 100 welds, and so it was to say, okay, what can the robot do? And the robot can draw any shape. So that way the robot actually bends the whole of this thing, and you have the whole shell coming out in one piece. So it's actually just 2 pieces of wire that make up the whole chair. Yeah, okay. When I did this chair, which is now that's also from Magis. Yeah. I mean, that's, let's say that's it's a 200,000 euro mold tool. You make that mold tool and then you can get quite a good price coming out, but it's 200,000 euros of investment. And in a way, it's really the modernist idea, like the mass production, bum, bum, bum. With this, there's a robot that can bend any shape, so you're actually much more flexible. You could say, okay, let's do one version like this, one version like this. And essentially, it's the programming time that costs for this. I still feel like I'm at the beginning of my career. Like there's so much to do.
You're not.
Yeah, but what I mean, like when I talked about my river diagram, actually at the end of the diagram it talks about where the river goes to, and I feel like at this point where I can decide where the river goes to, as much as which is a really exciting moment. I mean, I think we live in it's, Dickens said it was the worst of times, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. And it's the most interesting time to be a designer right now, ever, I think. Okay.